Welcome to the KinderPage podcast from Toronto. Today is Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, and we're diving deep into a question that honestly keeps a lot of parents up at night. Are home daycares safe? If you've ever found yourself endlessly scrolling, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by childcare choices, trying to sort fact from fiction, well, this deep dive is for you. Our goal today is simple. Cut through that noise, look at what the research actually tells us, and hopefully give you some real peace of mind. Just a quick note before we jump in. This podcast is based on research, but as always, listeners should definitely verify specific details for themselves.
Absolutely. And that peace of mind, it's not just, a bonus, it's everything, isn't it? As part of the KinderPage team, we get it. That primal parent instinct to put safety first, it's totally natural. And whether you're looking at a home setting or maybe a bigger daycare center, those worries are completely valid. They deserve a really good look, backed by fact.
Exactly. And as we start digging into the research we've gathered, it actually paints a picture that's clearer and frankly more reassuring than you might think. It seems to be less about the type of place and more about the standards behind it.
You've hit the nail on the head there. When we talk daycare safety, it's not just ticking a box. It's the foundation. It affects everything. Their physical safety, obviously,
Yeah.
but also their emotional growth, their confidence to just be kids, explore, learn. When kids feel safe, truly secure, that's when they can really flourish, make friends, soak things up.
It really is fundamental. We all kind of know safety's critical, but maybe spell it out for us. What are the absolute must-haves? Why do these safety standards need to be so rigorous?
Well, fundamentally, it's because young children are so vulnerable. They just don't see dangers the way adults do.
This-
Curious,
Oh.
right? Everything's fascinating.
Yeah.
That open drawer, that shiny thing. Potential hazards don't register. So constant supervision by someone who knows what they're doing, non-negotiable. Age-appropriate care, too. And it's not just about preventing bumps and bruises. That security, feeling safe, it creates the emotional space they need to develop socially, to learn effectively. Plus, let's be honest, parents need that peace of mind. You need to be able to focus on work knowing your child is okay, protected.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. So with those critical standards in mind, let's tackle the big question head on. Are home daycares safe? Because that's often the perception hurdle, isn't it?
Okay, so the research, it gives a pretty resounding yes,
Yeah.
but with a really important qualifier. We're talking about licensed home daycares. This isn't just guesswork, there's solid evidence. A major study looked specifically at injury rates, comparing licensed home daycares and traditional centers. And the finding, no significant difference, none.
Wow. No significant difference. That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
It means, statistically speaking, children are just as protected in a licensed home setting as they are in a licensed center, provided, of course, that the licensing is current and they're following all the safety rules.
So how does that finding, that no significant difference, how should that change how parents approach their search?
It should shift the focus, really, away from just the type of building, home versus center, and onto the credentials. Maybe there used to be this idea that bigger automatically meant safer, more institutional. But this research tells us the key isn't the four walls. It's the license, the training, the oversight, the actual following of safety rules. So parents can, confidently consider home-based options without thinking they're inherently taking a bigger risk.
Okay, so if license is the magic word here, what does that actually guarantee? What's involved in getting and keeping that license for a home daycare? It's quite a robust system, actually. First, you've got official oversight. In Canada, that means provincial or territorial bodies are involved. There are regular inspections, sometimes surprise ones, to make sure standards aren't slipping. Second, it ensures the caregiver has the right skills. They need specific training in child development, safety procedures, often first aid and CPR too. Third, it means they're prepared. They have emergency plans, safe play areas, the right number of kids per adult, proper child-proofing, the works. The bottom line really is, safety isn't about home versus center. It's about licensed versus unlicensed and whether the provider is following the rules. Accountability.
Right. And for everyone listening in Canada, dealing with provincial and territorial rules is just part of life. How does that system specifically ensure safety standards in home daycares across the country? That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because childcare is provincially and territorially regulated here, which is actually a good thing for consistency within each region. So while there might be small differences between, say, Ontario and Alberta, the basic principles of licensing, inspection, and safety standards are pretty consistent across the board. A licensed provider in Manitoba is held to a similar high standard as one in Nova Scotia. It's government mandated.
So, digging a bit deeper then, what's the actual process? What hoops does a provider have to jump through to get that license and, crucially, keep it? It sounds like quite a commitment.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's
Hmm.
not just filling out a form. First, they have to formally apply and get licensed by their province or territory's regulatory body. Then there's mandatory training, child development, safety, all that. And often, they need ongoing professional development to stay current. Background checks are essential. Police checks for everyone living in the home over a certain age, not just the main caregiver. The home itself has to pass safety inspections, like really detailed ones checking childproofing, fences, smoke detectors, how chemicals are stored, everything. They absolutely must have current first aid and CPR certifications. That's a deal breaker. And they have to operate according to strict policies, daily routines, handling illness, communication with parents. It's all laid out. And then they get regular inspections, often unannounced, usually by the Ministry of Education or equivalent body, to make sure they're sticking to it all day in, day out. It's continuous.
That's really thorough. Okay, so let's make this super practical. For a parent listening right now feeling maybe a bit overwhelmed, what's the step-by-step? How do they find one of these trusted licensed providers?
Okay, step one, verify, verify, verify. Just start with your provincial or territorial government's official website or registry. They usually have a list of licensed providers. But don't stop there. Check that the license is actually current. Is it in good standing? And don't be afraid to look for any history of complaints or violations. That information should be public. It's about confirming their track record.
Right. Do your homework up front. Okay, so say they've got a short list, they've checked the licenses, now it's time for a visit. What should they physically look for?
Exactly. The visit is key. You're looking for evidence that those standards are actually being lived out. Is the space clean? Is it organized? Is it properly child-proofed? Outlet covers, furniture secured, gates where needed. Check everything. If there's an outdoor area, is the fence secure? Is the ground safe to fall on? Is the equipment in good shape? Look at the toys. Are they age appropriate? Clean, not broken. Where are the cleaning supplies kept? Medications. Needs to be totally inaccessible to kids. And check for the basics. Working smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, maybe a fire extinguisher. You want to see safety in action.
Makes sense. Beyond the physical stuff, though, there's the caregiver. Huge factor. What makes a good home daycare provider beyond just the license? What qualities should parents look for?
Oh, absolutely central. Ideally, they have that formal early childhood education training, but look beyond the paper. Watch how they interact with the kids currently there. Is there genuine warmth? Are they engaged? Do they listen? Show empathy? Are they sticking to the proper child-to-adult ratios? That's crucial for individual attention. Do they seem able to provide personalized care? Do they ask about your child's needs, routines, personality? Or is it one size fits all? And a really good sign. Ask about ongoing training or professional development. Someone committed to learning is usually committed to quality care.
Good pointers. And what about the day-to-day running of the place? The nuts and bolts? What questions get to the heart of whether it's a good fit operationally?
Right, the practical stuff. Ask how many children they care for in total. Understand the group dynamic. Confirm the exact hours. What's their policy on late pickups or unexpected closures? Need to know that. Big one. How do they handle emergencies, illnesses, minor bumps? What's the procedure? Ask about a typical day. What kinds of activities do they do? Does it sound stimulating, age appropriate? Does it fit your family's philosophy? And finally, how do they communicate with parents? Daily updates, app, phone calls, regular check-ins. Clear, open communication is vital.
Okay, so we've established licensed home daycares are safe, just as safe as centers. That's huge news. Reassuring. But beyond just safety, what are the unique pluses? Why might a family actively choose an in-home setting? What are those bonus features?
Yeah, that's a great question because there often are distinct advantages. A big one is usually more individualized attention. Simply fewer kids means the provider can often tune in more closely to each child's specific needs, their little quirks, where they are developmentally. I remember reading about a little guy who was overwhelmed in a big center, just struggled with all the noise and transitions, moved to a small, licensed home daycare, totally different kid, thrived with that consistent, calmer, more personalized approach. It can be a game changer for some children.
That makes so much sense. And the environment itself probably feels less institutional, more like home.
Exactly. That home-like setting can be really comforting, especially for younger children or those transitioning into care for the first time. It reduces anxiety, helps them feel secure faster. It's less like a facility, more like a second home almost. And then there's the consistency of the caregiver. Usually in a home daycare, it's the same one or two people every single day. No staff rotations like you might see in bigger places. That consistency builds really strong bonds, deep trust between the child and caregiver, which is just golden for their emotional security.
Consistency is definitely huge for little ones. Builds that secure attachment. Any other practical perks?
Sometimes, yes, flexibility can be a factor. Some home providers might offer slightly more flexible hours or scheduling, which can be a real lifesaver for parents with less predictable work schedules. And another interesting one is mixed age groups. Often home daycares will have kids of a few different ages together. This actually mimics a family structure and can be great for social learning. Older kids learn patience and leadership. Younger kids learn by watching and interacting with the bigger kids. It's quite organic.
Fascinating points. Okay, so fast forward. You've done the research,
Yeah.
visited, asked the questions, found a licensed provider you feel great about. How do you keep that relationship strong and maintain that peace of mind long term? It's not set it and forget it, right?
Not at all.
Yeah,
It's
so-
absolutely an ongoing partnership.
Mhm.
And the key, communication. Constant, open, two-way communication. Make sure you're regularly talking about your child's needs, how their routine might be changing, their little preferences. Keep the provider in the loop. Stay interested in their day. Ask for updates. Share what you're seeing at home. If you have a concern, even a small one, bring it up directly and respectfully. Don't let things bubble under the surface. Participate in any check-ins or progress discussions they offer. It shows you're engaged. And critically, always make sure they have your most up-to-date emergency contacts and any relevant medical info. It's about building and maintaining that trust together.
Great advice. So, bringing it all together for our listeners, what's the main takeaway here as they face this really important decision?
The bottom line from the research is clear. Licensed home daycares are a safe option, just as safe as licensed centers. So you can confidently include them in your search, knowing they often bring those lovely extra benefits. The personalized care, the cozy setting, that consistent caregiver relationship. It kind of frees parents up from that underlying worry about the type of setting itself.
So, the safety isn't really about the building size or whether it looks like a school versus a house.
Precisely. Safety stems from the licensing, the qualifications, and ongoing training of the caregiver, and whether they are diligently following all those required policies and procedures. It's about the quality assurance system, not the architecture. That's the crucial insight.
That feels really empowering. So maybe the question you, our listener, should be asking isn't just home or center. I know. Perhaps the better question is, which licensed provider, regardless of setting, feels like the right fit for my child's unique needs, aligns with my family's values, and ultimately gives me that genuine peace of mind? Use the knowledge, trust your gut during visits, and make the choice that helps your child feel secure, learn, and just thrive. That's the goal, isn't it? Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive today.